What's up, Dojo fans? It's your boy Bruce Leroy. Happy New Year's, happy 2025, and I'm coming at you with a video that's gonna be pretty awesome today. So what we're gonna be doing today is I'm going to show you how to block out a skull. Literally a easy, simple way on how to block out a skull. Even a noob can do it. Like if you have no knowledge, no experience at all in ZBrush, this is gonna be a very simple process for you. All right. So let's go ahead and get right on into it. So first thing first, when we open up ZBrush, right? Just go ahead and hit comma. Touch over here to your simple brushes and bring out a spear. Once you pull that spear out, go ahead and hit edit. Go to I like to change my color to a basic material because it just works better with, you know, lighting. Make sure that you go ahead and make this thing into a Dynamesh 3D. Other than that, you won't be able to edit on this because it'll be technically in primitive mode. Turn your axis to left to right so you can make sure that it's on left to, that it's going to be on facing the x-axis. Go ahead, open up your sub tools and insert a cylinder. Now the reason why we're inserting the cylinder because the cylinder is going to act as a jaw, or in this case this would be called the mandible. And when we do that, we're going to go ahead and hit this gizmo right here and hit flatten deformer. We're going to hold shift because shift is going to hit it on, it's going to change it by like I say, by points versus doing a freehand, so that way you can get a perfect half on the cylinder that we have here. I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. I'm going to accept that. Then I'm going to select my spear, because if you look over here to the skull, this kind of resembles of a egg-shaped type of shape. So we're going to make an egg shape on this spear. So I'm going to hit the gizmo again while having my spear selected. I'm going to hit deformer. I'm going to look at it from the top view, and I'm going to then grab a white mask. Which again, as you remember, white reveals, black conceals. So instead of doing a black mask, which would be like deselecting, I like to do white masks because it's technically selecting the piece that I want to use. And for anybody, for any purposes at all, if you're wondering what hotkey that I'm using, if you look right here in the lower middle of my screen, you're gonna always see it. All right, so see, there's a hotkey right there. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and grab this, and then I'm gonna go ahead and push this back a little bit. And I'm just going to go ahead and make an actual egg shape. Not too much, not too crazy, just kind of just that size. I'm going to go ahead and hit the gizmo again. I'm going to hit accept. And then I'm just going to rotate this egg shape down just a little bit, because it's not going fully flat, it's going in an angle. So now that I got that, I like what I'm seeing. So I'm going to use this right here. Now I like this shape. It looks good to me. I'm going to then select my cylinder. And then this cylinder, I'm going to subdivide this just one time. So now it's subdivided once. Now we have this. Now this is a good little piece for me to use. I'm kind of going to push it forward a little bit, and then I'm just going to move back just so I can kind of widen it up some. So cool. I'm going to do that. So now I have this. I like it. The shape is good to me. So now what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to now select the top part of this. I'm going to merge down. If you look at your sub tool, you got merges in there, so you can find that for yourself. If you need help with that, just let me know in a different video. I'll make that for you. So I'm going to use my pop down. I have a custom UI with a pop down, with my own pop down window. If you guys want me to show you how to do that or make a custom UI, just comment and just let me know that, hey, show me how to make a custom UI, and I'll make that into a separate video. So yeah, gonna merge down. So now both of these things are merged together somewhat. They're still separate pieces because I haven't put them both into the same piece, but they're all for the most part somewhat merged together, right? So now we have this shape right here. I like it. So now what we're going to do now is I'm going to then hit X, which is going to bring up symmetry, and I'm going to go to mask, and in this mask I'm going to select mask lasso because I want to make some eyes. So when you're making these eyes are going to be more of a rectangular shape, as you can see, but the rectangular shape isn't going to be straight. They're going to be angled like so, right? So you're just going to take it and try to angle it a little bit in your mask to look like that. All right, cool. So that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna come right here, kind of come pretty much close to this midpoint right here. I'm gonna come down, I'm gonna drop, and I'm gonna drop this way, like so. So now we have this eyes right here, right? Now, since we did a drag select, it's going to drag anything that's in the front, also what's behind it. So make sure that you mask out that right there, so you don't have any issues. Once you do that, you're just going to go ahead and hit your move, hold Alt, which is going to unlock the pivot, and then so when you're, like, say in this case resetting the origin, you don't have to worry about the pivot moving the actual mesh as well. So I just did that, unlock the reset the pivot, just so I can push back on this thing a little bit right here, so I can kind of get this little face part kind of, you know, helping me out right there. So now that I got that, got these little eyes here, probably should have made them a little bigger, but hey, it's okay. I just want to show you that it doesn't have to be perfect. So now that we have this right here, so we kind of got that. I like it so far. I'm going to use clay buildup, and then I'm going to lower the intensity because sometimes the intensity can be pretty harsh. And then now I'm going to make what is called a superorbital arches, which is kind of what you see right here. This region here is called a superorbital arch. It is an eminence, and I'm just going to come and just make a little tap right there, right? So now we got that. That's a superorbital arch. Next thing we need to do is we need to develop, if you look here, the superorbital arch, if you look at it from the side, it has like this little concave section here. This has like a 90-degree angle part, which is basically where the starting of the nasals. I'm gonna lower my move to a little bit. So that's all we're gonna do. We're gonna go ahead and create that. So I'm gonna go ahead and push that in, and I'm gonna go ahead and push this out. So this out is gonna kind of represent like the nose in a way, our nasalis. So if you look at your nose right here, you'll have technically two bumps. This bump you see right here is actually going to be the bone, the tipping point of your nasalis. So I'm going to make that right here. So once I got that part up right here, if you look, it's kind of like an S shape in a way with an L bottom. So you want to kind of recreate that right there. So I'm going to go ahead and take this, and I'm going to probably pull out a little bit of information right there, just so we can kind of have it, right? And then I'm gonna use that, open this part right here, and I'm gonna push inside. And as I'm pushing inside, if you're wondering how I'm getting that, like that direct straight back push, all I'm doing is holding Alt. I have my hotkeys on this thing here. So if you, and again, look at the middle of the screen, you can see the hotkey in there. So I'm really just, when I'm moving, I'm actually just holding Alt, and it's gonna push it directly back, right? So now we got that. So if you look at the nasal is on the skeleton structure, you will notice that it is more like a key shape. So I'm just going to make that key shape right here. So it's going to be kind of like this, open at the bottom, short at the top, flat. And I'm just going to make that key shape just for right now. And again, we don't need to make this thing perfectly what you see right now, but just go ahead and just kind of like, you know, draw it up some. Boom. So now we have that. It's going to kind of represent our nasal for right now. Next, we want to go ahead and start working on we're going to start working on the frontal region of the skull. So only thing I got to do right here is take this stuff right here and just kind of draw it out. You want to kind of put it all right here, just get a little bit of information that's coming out like that. Nothing crazy. All right, so something similar to like that if you can. Once you got this, you see this big part right here that's poking out. This right here, that's called your zenomatic bone. So you want to just kind of go ahead and formulate that a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and make a zenomatic bone from here. It's going to start at this region, and it's going to work its way back over here, right? So that right there is called your zenomatic bone. It's going to be heavy at the front, thin in the back, and it's going to go like that, right? So most cases it's kind of straight up. Some of them is kind of arc, but what it never is, it's never going to be straight like this. It's never going to be straight like this. It's going to be somewhat of an arc. All right. So we're gonna just have it right here, just like so. And next, since we have this information, now that we have this information right here, what we're gonna do is do what is called our temporal line. Temporal line is like this C shape you see right here. Again, it's not a specific C shape. Like it obviously has grooves in it, but when you're making this thing out, you're just gonna make a C shape for now, right? Again, we're just blocking it out. We don't have to be perfect. So when you make that C shape, it's just simply going in like so, right? All right, cool. Let's do that. So I'm gonna take that and I'm gonna make a C shape like this, just identifying where this is, going out right there. Just a simple C shape, and I'm gonna go ahead and loosen this up a little bit, just so we can kind of get a little bit more of the groove of what's going on. There you go. See? We're just gonna make a C shape. Boom. C shape is in. We have everything we need right as far as that. Bring that out a little bit. Now, next, what you want to see is now that we have this information right here, what we need to have now is that our jaw, or in this case, our mandible, is a little bit short. So we definitely need to kind of work on that a little bit. But before we start getting into heavy, all that heaviness, what we need to do is kind of scope out our maxilla. Our maxilla is this part, this region right here. So this entire region going on right here is technically our maxilla, right? That is the concave section into frontal part of the skull. So we can go ahead and scope a little bit on that if you like. So you can go ahead and just kind of poke a little bit into that right there. That is going to be our maxilla. This right here is going to, when you scope a little bit into this is going to be the incision point of the skull. If you want to make more of the mouth part more visible, you can go ahead and kind of open up a little section right here. Now, one thing that I'm noticing about the skull right now is that this is kind of like a box. And in any mandible that you have is going to be kind of slanted on the inside, so we need to fix that. So let's go ahead and do that right quick before we get too far into this thing. So I probably might even just reduce that little nature. I'll leave that out for right now because we need to make this thing a little bit longer and we need to reduce it, right? So let's go ahead and do that. I'm gonna come right here and I'm going to do a white mask select. I'll probably chop it right here, lower that, and then I will put it in place, and I will just scale it down a little bit just to give us a little bit more depth. After I do that, then I'm going to go ahead and turn that back on again, turn on symmetry so I can go in the middle, and then I'm going to go ahead and hit a deformer, and I'm going to hit this blue, this orange cone shape right here, which is going to add us some subdivisions, and just put enough subdivisions that is going to manipulate this area right here. So again, take this, and I'm going to not scale uniformly, but I'm going to scale in the x-axis, because if I scale uniformly, it's going to push not just the mandible inward, it's going to push it all the way in, and you're not going to like it. So again, just scale it in some, like so. Undo that, grab this, scale it in like so. Undo that, grab this like this, and then scale this last one like so. All right. Again, you don't gotta emasculate it, just appreciate it. Yeah, babe. You ain't gotta emasculate it, just appreciate it. So now we have that. I like it. Looks pretty good to me. I probably hit that mandible a little bit more, which is okay. Now what we need to do is kind of arch this thing in a little and more of a better angle to this, because right now this is kind of flat. That isn't technically how this would go. So what I would do is I would come in here and do a selection. So a selection is different from like a mask, right? Because you hit control, you're going to get a mask, but if you hit control and shift, you get the select rect, which basically what it's doing is it's selecting the skull, and you don't technically well, not selecting, it's selecting the geometry, meaning that you can manipulate the geometry. So they did add something pretty cool, which is knife. I like the knife curve. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hit control shift and drag from right to left, so we can kind of get this black gradient from facing the downward position, because basically what it's doing is anything that whenever it's facing the downward position, anything that's on that black and below will be affected. So once we do this, this is a quick way of going ahead and slicing that right there. All right, so that's pretty cool. So now we instantly kind of got that effect that we're looking for, which I like. If I need, I don't know, I feel like I need to make this longer, but we'll see how that works out. But I feel like it's kind of a little short for me right now. Yeah, it's definitely feel a lot shorter. So I'm probably gonna grab this, mask that up a little bit, and then I'm gonna go ahead and bring this up here. I'm just gonna go ahead and push that down just a little bit more. Actually, you don't even need to. You can just kind of push it down like that, so you don't have to scale it. That right there just opened that up just a little bit more for me, because it just feels a little bit too short. All right, cool. Now that we got this part right here, we're in a good position. What I definitely want to do right now is I would definitely want to get rid of some of this stuff that we got going on in the back. Because a lot of this stuff that we're just not going to need right now. So we can go ahead and just kind of go ahead and carve this out right here, because we're not going to need it. We don't need none of this. Oh, whoa, wait. We don't have any symmetry yet. All right, so let's go back. Boom. All right, cool. Turn on symmetry, hit X. Now we got sculpt on it. That happens a lot, by the way, so don't even worry. If you forget the symmetry, just go ahead and go back. And we're just going to go ahead and sculpt a little bit on the back of that skull right quick until we get it on a more flatter base. So go ahead and take that up. We can go ahead and just completely knock this off right here. Go ahead and do that. Yeah, that's gonna be cool. Go ahead and knock that off right there. Open that up some, because we're not gonna need none of this for right now. Take that. If you want to straighten it up, you can, but I don't think you need to. Don't worry. So now we got this, which is okay. So another thing that we want to do is you look right here into this empty hollow space. That's kind of where the hollow point of your mandible is. The only reason why you don't see anything here, because the only thing that fills that spot in is a muscle called the buccinator. So we can go ahead and do that point too. So if you want to, it's going to come right here. This right here is your zygomatic bone. So under the right intrazygomatic bone, you're going to have an end section point, which is going to be right about here. It's kind of where you're going to have it. And you want to go ahead and open that up a little bit. This right here is going to be pretty much where your mouth is. So if you want to go ahead and open that up some, that's completely on you. You can just go ahead and say that, hey, it's here. Next part you're going to have is the chin. So you're going to pop that chin out some. You can go ahead and do that. So that's going to give us a little chin. So now also too, if you notice right here on the side of the mandible, this is a very important part right here, because this helps determine, this is one of the indicators that determine the sex of the skull that you're doing. So just for education purpose wise goes, a male's mandible from the side view is going to have more of a 90-degree angle, and the woman's side of the mandible is going to have like a 130 to 140 degree angle. But one major thing that sticks out within men is right here, and it's called the angle of jaw, right? That's this guy right here. You see here this flap. You see that flap? We call that the angle of jaw, and that part is going to poke out a lot more vicious within the males. So we're going to go ahead and move that out real quick. So I'm just going to go ahead and finagle this a little bit, because I need to get this to be kind of rounded. There you go. So I got that a little bit more rounded, and then we're just going to go ahead and push that out some. Now, a cool thing that's going to be a good information for you as well is that if you look at even though we're going to move this guy out some, the bottom of the mandible is kind of has like an arc to it. It's kind of like that. So you want to make that arc right there. So none of it is actually pretty straight. So you can just kind of just angle it a little bit. And again, don't masculate it. It doesn't have to be perfect right now. We're just doing a simple block out. All right, we're just doing a simple block out. Now another thing too that you're going to have to understand as well, if you look at the side of the skull, is that the back part of the mandible is going to be a lot more further back, because that stem of that zygomatic bone is going to extend all the way back here. And yes, you see this little hole right there. That little hole you see right there is where your eardrum is. So that's where your ear is going to be located. So you can take that thing, if you want to make it bigger, it's up to you. And then you want to just kind of go ahead and move that right on back some until you get a really nice, significant size of that thing. There you go. Go ahead and move that right there a little bit. So cool, yeah. And also too, it's gonna have an arc to that as well. So it's gonna be kind of hard to dictate, but we got it right there. And again, it's gonna be so much more movement going on. So trust me, it's not this is not gonna be just one of those one and done process. It's just not how it's gonna work. All right. So cool. Now that we got that, so we have like the angle, we have the jaw part in there, we have the Zremesher. Another thing that we want to kind of go ahead and get into as well is this right here, this little nasal part. So in this nasal part, you look, or not, right next to the nasal, you're going to have this orbital. This orbital is going to have an arc part right here, which is basically the margin of the maxilla. So you're going to take this, and we're just going to go ahead and move this in here some. Let's go ahead and push that in a little bit to get that arc formulated. And again, I'm not worrying about the fact I don't have the geometry yet for that. That's okay. I don't have the geometry that's going to be able to support all these things. What we're doing right now is simply just bringing out the shape. That's all we're doing, baby. We're just bringing out the shape. We're just making sure everything is going to be cool when about time we get done doing what we do. So now I had this. Also too, as you notice that the mouth part is going to be kind of more straightened up right here, even though you're gonna see some stuff in the back. So we can kind of go ahead and preset that right now. Just open that on up. And if you want to soften that, I hate when I'm doing the softening, as you notice, every time I grab a brush, I lower the intensity because it's already harsh. You don't need to be so harsh when you're doing your thing. So what I like to do when I'm using my soft brush, if you wonder what a soft brush is, you just hold shift that turns on the soft. As you can see, my cursor is changing colors. I always lower it down because 100 is just harsh. I like to keep it at a 20 in a way, and sometimes move it from there because that way I have better control. Cool. So now we have something like this, which is okay. It's a good starting point. So let's keep on working. So now that we have this part right here, I think at this point we should start formulating the skull a little bit more better, so we can kind of get a good feel on where we're going with this at. So we can kind of realign the zygomatic bone a little bit. We can kind of start molding out our skull some. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring this up, and I want to have a bigger forehead, so I'm gonna go ahead and shift a lot of weight to the forehead some, so we can kind of formulate that. Bring this up some, move this around. Now so now what we have to do is here, this is a very interesting point, because this point here, the heaviest part of the skull is going to start right there at that ball point, because that's where the occipital bone is, right? So you're going to come here and you're going to pull that out. So that's the furthest point of the rear of the skull. And then the widest point from left to right of the skull would be the palatal bone. That's the two big balls you'll see pretty much running at the top of this thing. So right now what we need to do now is just readjust this guy up so we can kind of start getting a good base of the formulation of the skull and what this thing should be looking like. So again, don't go too crazy. Again, we're just blocking this thing out. Nothing too crazy, nothing wow. We're just blocking it up for right now. All right. So now we have something that's going to be kind of similar to this right here, right? And again, as you can see, as I'm doing my thing, I'm rotating, I'm looking around, I'm trying to see where how the skull is looking. Notice that as I'm doing my thing with the skull, I'm not staying in one place. Move around, dance around a bit. This right here is called the ugly phase. It is very discouraging. It's going to make you feel like you don't know what the hell you're doing. Trust me, it's going to work out fine. It gets everybody, believe me. All right, so now I have this right here, right? So now I got this, and I'm going to go ahead, and I'm still formulating out the skull a little bit. I'm just looking around, making sure everything is okay, even though I don't have the geometry to support a lot of the things that I'm trying to do currently. Right, I got my angle of jaw. That's going to be kind of out here pretty good. Take this up. This is going to come out of so gently, but I have my angle of jaw. That's looking okay. My inside looking okay. My mandible's looking fine. I like what's going on. Maxilla is pretty much okay. It's all right. With my nasals, I'm going to just go ahead and carve in a little bit more for my nasals right there. Zremesher looking okay. And it's looking pretty cool for right now. I think we need to work on the L shape, but it's alright. So now that I got this part right here, I like what's going on. I'll probably give me a little bit more juice right here. Not going too crazy. And no, I don't care that this stuff is penetrating. Doesn't matter to me. I'll probably carve a little bit more of that temporal line right there. There we go. We got a really nice shape right there. We got a very, very nice shape. See if anything else I'm seeing that I might want to touch up a little bit. This right here is a little bit too arc right here. Remember, this is supposed to be kind of more of a shape similar to that. So we just need to pull up that back part a little bit if we're going to use this. I'm just going to come up here, pull up that back part. I'll probably pull this back a little bit more because like I said, it's going to show somewhat of a 90-degree angle. I'll pull this down some to kind of make it match a little bit. I think it's fine. I think it's fine. So yeah, this is pretty good. This is a good base for me to start with. Because again, don't worry about what it looks like. I'm going to show you guys a very interesting trick once we're done. So we have this. This is kind of poking out pretty good. Nasals is alright. Let's go ahead and just touch the nasals just a little bit up before we go ahead and work the trick out. And again, you guys are gonna really like this. Trust me, you're gonna really like this. So now that we have this point right here, I'm gonna go ahead and just tweak this look up just a little bit. Trying to make sure we get everything that we're seeing. Push this back. This is gonna come a little bit forward. This is gonna come a little bit forward. Right there. That's gonna stick pretty much right here, and then you kind of smooth. Oops, sorry. Kind of go ahead and just smooth that out a little bit. We can just kind of pull this out some. There we go. There we go. Because the mouth is gonna be pretty much so. Because when we get done with the mouth part, the mouth region is gonna lower this down. The mouth region is gonna be pretty much right here. Because remember, once we cut this part off, it's going to be a space because we're going to have, and then I guess that really depends on what you're trying to do, like how real you're trying to go with this, you know what I'm saying? And speaking of that, let me just go ahead and undo this. Speaking of that, we have a decision that we're going to have to make once we Dynamesh this thing. So once we got this part right here, this is a very good region to have. This is a very good space to have. I like what's going on so far. I don't have any much more topology left. Also, we are missing one thing that I just noticed too. We're missing one thing, and it is very, very important, and it's called the mesh story process. That's this lump you see right here. Very important. Not only is it's an indicator of where your eardrum is, but it's actually one of the most important bones here that one of the most important muscles on your neck attaches to. So let's go ahead and make that real quick. So to do that, it's very simple. We're just going to drag out some information. And you're going to notice we're going to say that a lot. Simple. It's going to be simple. It's going to be very simple. Yeah, we're just dragging out some information. And again, so now when you're dragging this information out, the cool thing about this is that it's heavier in the front. So it's heavy in the front right here, and it's less heavy in the back. So you can just kind of leave it like that, like an asthma attack. Get in. So cool. I think that's pretty good. I like that. I'll probably pull out a little bit more information, a little bit more skull, a little bit more of that. I'll lower the back some, that occipital bone some. Look around, make sure that everything is going on the up and up, and everything is kind of rounded. Open this up a little bit more. Flow this in a little bit more. You don't want to get too greasy. You don't want to get too greedy. Yeah, there you go. Alright, I think this is okay for right now. So now that we got this, let me just open this up some, open this up some. We want to make sure all this stuff stays pretty even for the most part. You can drop this down a little bit if you want to. Cool. You don't want to carve in too much yet because you got to catch a feel for what's going on. So, but right now I'm liking what's going on. I think it's pretty okay, at least for me. Bring a little bit more of that mouth region out. Look around, get some of that more mouth region out right there. All right, cool. I like it. I think it's a safe thing to say. This is pretty cool. Just pushing that in some if you wonder what I'm doing. It is penetrating. I don't care. This is pretty alright. I'm not worried about this being flat because it's not enough geometry for us to really even kind of engage it. But I think this is a fair bet for right now for us. So let's go ahead and use this geometry to kind of speak to pretty much work with. So now that we got this, and let's say I'm just kind of just, you know, getting a little bit more of a feel here, just touching this a little bit. I'm thinning this up a little bit, nothing crazy. There's going to be significant information that's going to come right there, and I just know, so I'm just going to kind of just touch that all the way right there. So now this is where a cool thing happens at. All right, so all right, follow the boy. So again, looks crazy, I know, but watch the magic. All right, so this is what it looks like. This is how it is. All right, don't worry now. Don't worry. Just holler at your boy. Listen, follow that Fiki. You heard me? You know the way. All right, you know the way. Cool. So now we got this. This is like a good little block out of the skull, and we're gonna go ahead and Dynamesh this thing, right? So let's go ahead and Dynamesh it up. Boom. This is our Dynamesh. This is pretty cool. So when we're Dynameshing this thing, the only thing that we're going to do now is just smooth this guy out. So what we're looking for in the Dynamesh is that we're looking for holes, right? That's the only thing we're looking for. So I'm just going to go ahead and smooth this up, smooth this. And again, only thing we're doing when we're when we're doing this is that we're looking for holes. We're not looking for anything else. We want to find holes, if there is any. So we're just doing this. We're trying to find holes. That's kind of like an insider. I ain't gonna hold you. That was good. You did. Yeah, that was good. You're good. Okay. I get ahead of myself sometimes. All right, so cool. We got this. I like it. And I like it like that. I like it like that. Yes, sir. I'm gonna go ahead and scope on this a little bit right here because I just know that I don't want it. I don't want it for right now. All right, cool. So I think this is pretty good. This is a good base. I like the starting part of it, and it's cool, and it's real. Now, in this position, I think I'm gonna do it next. I'm gonna show you because that's more of a bonus, not technically what we came here for. I'm gonna go ahead and just sculpt on this part right here because I just like that part right there. There you go. Like I said, if you want to make some last little minute corrections right here, if you want to, you can do that. It's not gonna make or break anything. So I'm just doing it because I see something in my head. So I'm just kind of carving that part in. I just want to carve that because I want a line that shows that that's there. There you go. I just wanted to see that. I ain't gonna lie. I just wanted to see that. All right, cool. So now we have this. This is our ugly looking blob. So next, this is where the magic happens. So in this magic, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hit my pop-up menu. I'm going to go to Zremesher. To find Zremesher is pretty easy. If you just kind of scroll down here to geometry, and there's Zremesher like right there. So I'm going to hit my Zremesher, and I'm going to go to my target point. I'm going to go to 1 because for me, I like to keep my subdivisions low because it's easy to manipulate the model. And the way I am and the way I teach for my courses, I teach for control. So that's just me. Don't know. So I'm going to hit 1, and we're going to see the magic. It ain't going to take too long. Trust your boy. I got a nice PC. Boom. So now we have this. So now, as you can see, we have a nice little piece of block out of a skull right here. Now that we are in this phase, it's actually pretty easy for us to manipulate this guy because the geometry is low and we can change up whatever we need to change up on. And we have some pretty strong hard shapes. I like it. So in this phase, and again, so I'm just going to tweak it up a little bit, just so I can show you. Just so we're going to tweak it up a little bit, get a nasal that's going on. We can go ahead and drop this down a little bit. Also, too, as you look right here where the superorbital arch is, there's a line right there. So there's even the way that you got, everything is not going to be crisped out perfect. But what I want to do is I'm going to look at this line that I see right here, and I'm going to make that into a straight line. So that's going to now be my representation of my arc. So when I arc and I'm carving in, I can carve it in right there, right? Again, that's just something I just want you to show. And then we can go ahead and flatten this up right here, this region right here. So go ahead and flatten that up. If you want to flatten this up a little bit, get a little information there, you can. Now, remember this nose here is a key shape, so you want to make sure you want to keep that key shape in there. So I'm going to go ahead and open this up a little bit to open up a key shape. And again, with that key shape, it's going to be slim at the top, more wider at the bottom. So we're going to do that. So now it's a little bit more wider at the bottom, some just like so. Open this up a little bit. Let's say it's like that. This is going to come forward some. Yes, sir. This is going to have a little stronger rest. So we can kind of come down and rest that a little bit. Good, good, good. That's looking pretty okay. Not worrying about that right there. This is my Zremesher bone. Zremesher bone is going to probably lift up a little bit more. It's a little bit low. So I'm just going to open that up. And I'm also going to open up my mouth up a little bit. Now the jaw proportion is a little bit low, so I'm going to go ahead and reach this up. And what I'm doing, if you're wondering, I'm looking at the geometry. That's it. And what I'm doing is I am picking a line, right? So I'm picking out my information. So if I turn this wireframe right here, this is going to be my jaw region, right? And since it's my jaw region, I can now I'm going to do a little bit of low poly modeling. Right? Low poly technique modeling is always going to be efficient in any way, form. So that's all I'm doing. And what I'm doing is pre-prepping the geometry, as you're wondering, right? Because again, this is where the teeth inserts. So that means around this region is where the actual bone is, right? This should be nothing here because there's no teeth yet. We're talking unless we are modeling this thing as one specific sculpt. Now, if you're doing that, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you're gonna do that, you're gonna have to make certain decisions. All right. So now, with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and keep working. Keep working. So now with this thing, this right here is going to be a maxilla. It's going to be kind of more so like this, right? So we need to do that right there. So let's go ahead and create that shape, right? That's going to be a maxilla. It's going to open that, and we're going to open this up a little bit more. Open that just like that. See, but you see, when we have the proper block out, everything just becomes easy, right? And the same thing here. This is going to open up a little bit more because this is where your superorbital arches is. Your superorbital arch is going to come out right here, right? And I'm just presetting it, baby. That's all I'm doing. I'm presetting it. I ain't doing nothing crazy, you feel me? I ain't doing nothing crazy. So now we had that. I gotta work on this nasals a little bit because I'm not liking what that shape coming out is, but we're gonna need to carve in some tooth. Now, in a minute, we're gonna have a very interesting decision, which is a bonus to what I'm going to show you. Because again, I'm just showing you a good way on how to block this skull out to get you a nice skull, as you can see already coming out, right? So again, so now we have this. Is you want to go ahead and correct a little bit of stuff. Look around, see if you need to correct something. You want to show a little bit more as Zremesher bone. You can show, the temporal line. You can do that. You want to open this up a little bit more. Do that as you want to. Touch in right there in the middle, in that bottom part, so we can kind of have that. You want to tuck in a little bit right here, you can do so as well. Tuck in a little bit more right here. So now this is what's going to make things a lot more interesting when you're doing your bit, because you need to see these lines. These lines is going to help you and when you're doing your thing. So I open this up some, and I open this side up some too, just so I can have a better, harsher line there. Because again, right now, all the geometry that you're seeing is on the same playing field, and when it's on the same playing field, you're not going to see the harsh line that's going to give you like, hey, yo, that. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to really be able to see that right there. Okay? So again, you're still building out, that's fine, but you can see we have strong shapes, just like this shape here. So we have a lot of this shape, which we can lower this, and then this right here is going to be where our superorbital arch is. And since this is where our superorbital arch is, you look right here, this is our superorbital arch, and there's going to be a break off point right there, right? This is going to be a breakout part right there, because that's where the extrusion of the superorbital arch is happening. So we probably don't have enough geometry to do that, but if you want to make an indication like right there, you can make the indication, Right, so that's the indication to you visually to you that this is where the intersection or the breakout point of that supraorbital arch is coming off that frontal bone. Right, so just keep that in mind. Right, cool. And I like it. I like what's going on right now. So I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna go ahead and sculpt a little bit more. I'm gonna move a little bit from this right here. I'm gonna go ahead and flatten a little more of this nasalis, so we can kind of have a more stronger sense of where it is. That's looking really good. If you look right here, remember I told you that this is a fold inside, so you want to make sure that's folded inside just a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and press that in a little bit. That's going to give us that fold right there. This is going to have an arc kind of sense to it, so we can kind of push this forward, push that there. This zygomatic bone is going to be kind of flush and flat a little bit, so it ain't going to have that much of an arc there. This thing right here is going to sit just shy below it, so you want to make sure that's going there as well. We're just going to have an arc right here, right? Now this is looking very, very good. I like it a lot. You know what I'm saying? I really like what's going on right here. I really like the representation of what's happening too. Now, this right here is a little bit big, so if you want to open that up, feel free, you can do that. You can just kind of press this in right here to open that up some. Don't go too crazy with it though. You can just kind of take this, tuck it in a little bit, take this, tuck it in a little bit, as you want to then thin it up just a little bit. But don't go too crazy with it. I don't think you need to have that also rude, because again, we still have other parts that need some attention. Like this part right here is poking out a lot. You want to go ahead and press that in right here, because again, the way this thing works is you look at the top part or the bottom part of this of the zygomatic bone, right? So the zygomatic bone doesn't go straight like this, right? What it does is come out and arcs in. Why? Because this point right here, that point is where your eardrum is, and that's where the ear is. So if you look at someone going face forward, right? Let's say if I have somebody over here that kind of facing forward right here. This is such an old thing that I have. I don't think I have a guy that's looking straight. Let's use him. Very skinny guy. If you notice that, you'll see this hump right here, and his ear looking like it's going inside. That's because the furthest point of the zygomatic bone is right here at that stem. All right. So that's all that is, baby. That's all that is, man. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Your boy Roy got it, you baby. Your boy Roy got it. I'm gonna go ahead and touch that up right up there a little bit. So I think I like it real good. I like what's going on. Paddle bone probably we need to start showing that, but again, we're still in the block out phase, so let's not worry. So I think this is cool for right now. So now this is how you block out a skull properly, right? Now we're gonna do, so as a bonus, I'm gonna show you something even cooler than this. So now when you are at this phase in the game, right, you have to make a very, very interesting decision. This phase is where you need to make the decision of, are you making this skull in one fitting, or are you sculpting, or are you going to make this skull into two separate pieces like a traditional skull or a realistic skull, depending on how real you want this thing to be. Right? And what do I mean by that? Is that right here, we still have the mandible attached to the upper part of the skull. That's not how this actually works. The mandible is a separate piece, right? As you can see, or jaw, however you want to call it. So now this, we need to now, determine what it is that you're trying to do. Do you want to put this as one piece, or do you want to, change it up? So it's up to you in basically what do you want to do. So let's just say hypothetically you say, hey, I want to make this, yo Roy, I want you to make this into two separate pieces, and I want to make this thing a little bit more proper. Okay, let's do that. So let me show you a cool trick, and then we'll wrap it up, because again, I'm just showing you how to block out a skull properly, and no matter what, you're going to have exactly what you need. All right, so now what you would do is that I would press Alt and Select, and I would come in here and I would get my Select Lasso, right? And now in this Select Lasso, now we have already identified, right? We have already identified that this is the mandible, right? This right here is the mandible. From here back is our mandible. So what we need to do is now cut that out. Also too, I forgot to move this back, because again, we need to move this part right here back some. And we're gonna make sure we have all that we need. You did. There you go. Yeah, sir. Because we want to make sure everything even. You did. Yeah, looks good to me. I like it. I like it. Also, too, this jaw. See how this arc of this jaw? That's wrong. This arc of the jaw is more so like a V, or like a V that's not as harsh, and it's definitely not a U. So what we want to do is, you see how we already had this V shape, so we're just gonna go ahead and straighten that up some. You did me? Go ahead and straighten that up some. That angle of that flap is always gonna be there. That's never changing. If we're making a mill, that flap is never changing. Alright, cool. Alright, I like it. Push that up in a little bit, because the top part is going to come out a little something. Alright, cool. Yeah, sir. You did. Hey, y'all see it. You see it. Alright, so cool. Now we got this. I like what's going on. I get passionate about this type of stuff. Don't scold me. Alright, so I like this. Take that right there. Probably flatten it up a little bit. Boy, yeah, baby. Yeah, boy. Open that up a little bit. Boy. Bring up some. Alright, so get your lassos on. Get your select lasso. That's just holding Alt. If you missed it, just Alt Shift together. You'll see it right here when you come to the brush. And then if you don't see it when you press that button, just hit that brush while you're holding Alt and select. Alt and Shift, and then you just look around here on your 3D sculpting brushes, and then you find it there. Cool. All right, so now I'm gonna go ahead and grab it, right? And this is where it gets cool, right? Take this. I'm gonna take it all the way down, and I'm gonna grab it by, let me say, I'm gonna snatch it right here. Boom. And again, you're gonna have to touch it up a little bit. Boom. So there's never gonna be a time where you don't have to touch something out, right? I don't think it's that deep. To get this one little piece, I don't think it's that deep. Oh, see, this is why I keep telling y'all, don't masculate it, bro. Don't masculate, because you masculate it, you're going to be stuck, bro. You're going to be stuck. Don't. I told myself not to masculate it, but I did. Alright, I think it's fine. Yeah, I think it's okay. I'm not going to really go crazy with it. Alright, cool. So we got this. And then while we're here, I'm going to open up wireframe. When you're in this phase, where basically what happens is we just kind of just hitting the other part of the geometry. We're going to hit Control W. That is the hotkey for your polygroups. So we're going to polygroup. So now this is a 2 separate group thing. So now this is 2 separate groups. We're going to use that, and then we're going to use this to separate the mesh. I kind of want more, to be honest with you. I kind of want more of this right quick. Cool. That's probably definitely a big bite, but it's okay. I'm alright with it. So I take this, boom. So I can change that color up. Alright, cool. So now we got this, because this is see, this is why I keep telling you, don't masculate. See, because if you try to masculate it, bro, it's gonna bother you. That's what I'm saying. Do not masculate it. Do not do what I just did. This is how you masculate. Okay, so now that we got this phase right here, this is where we're making a tough decision, right? Now, in this decision, we're deciding to make this into 2 separate meshes. So let's do that. So boom. And what's going to happen is we're going to now separate this bottom piece so we can have that open mouth that doesn't have teeth there. So I'm going to take this, and I'm going to go to Group Split. So this is Group Split. So what Group Split is going to do is going to split 2 separate groups. In this case, the groups are polygroups. So that's what it's going to do. So hit Group Split. It's going to say, hey, yo, it's going to give me a warning that, you know, you can't do this again. You flip up. That's your buttocks. Cool. And now we have 2 separate pieces. Now, this is where it gets even more interesting. Now, as you see, we have this open geometry right here. We got to close it. So the perfect way of closing this thing that I find is just doing Dynamesh, because Dynamesh closes it anyways. See, Dynamesh closes everything. So now, as you can see, there are some issues. this is a good teaching moment right here. I put it all as one poly group. This is a good teaching moment right here, because remember when we did a Dynamesh in the early phases of the skull, I told you we was looking for holes. Now, if we had these holes, if you notice, if I Dynamesh this again, it's not, even if I was soften this, I Dynamesh this again, it's just gonna get worse, right? How do we fix this? Interesting. All you have to do is get the inflate tool, and what you're going to do is go ahead and inflate this enough where it is intersecting. That's all you have to do. Inflate it enough to where it's intersecting. That's all you have to do. Right? All you have to do. See right here? Inflate it enough to there's some intersection going on here. Boom. All you have to do. Once you have the intersection going on there, hit Dynamesh again. Boom. And as you can see, it's going to start closing these holes. There's a hole right there. Don't worry. I'm just going to go ahead and soften that up a little bit more. And I'm going to Dynamesh. Boom. Done. Same thing. I think I see something right here. There's another little crazy bite right here. I'm going to look for it. There it is again. So I'm going to take this. Alright. Soften this up so I can get close to each other. Soften it. Then I'm going to inflate. Just so it's intersecting. Dynamesh. Boom. There we go. So that's a very easy fix. It happens all the time, but that's kind of how I always known about fixing it. Like, and again, I see these stuff, I'm just going to soften this up and I'm going to Dynamesh it again. There you go. That's all you have to do to get that geometry smoothed up right there, right? And Dynamesh it one more time. Boom. Now all of it's all one piece. Now, again, when you're dealing with the mandible, all this stuff is hollow. There's nothing there. Like, there's nothing here. So you can do a few things. You can just move it all out of the way, or you can sculpt it all out of the way. However you want to do it. So if you just take the move and say, hey, I'm going to move this all out of the way. This is going to be kind of more so like this. This is going to be kind of more so over here. Cool. This stuff needs to come over here together, right on top of this guy. Cool. You do that. Make sure it's all close together. If you want to push it in, I will say you can sculpt it in, but this all depends on how close this is. Now you're gonna have issues like this, right? And I'm gonna turn this wireframe off. You're gonna have problems like this, and this problem is like how thin that line can get. If it ever gets too thin for you, where you can't sculpt in at it, again, inflate tool. All you gotta do is hit that inflate. All you gotta do is take this, inflate it, Dynamesh it. Boom. Now geometry is back good. Now you can go ahead and continue to push in or carve it in, however you want to do it. But right now, just looking at this bottom part, this needs to come directly up, right? So what you can do is take this. Let's use the clay builder. Clay builder is pretty good for doing stuff similar to this, like cutting, if you cut it right. Because what it does is not only does it give you a harsh slice, but it gives you a line that kind of gives you an indication of where what stuff is, right? So see, again. And it carves up pretty nice. When it has this issue right here, Dynamesh it. See, we got some real breakage right here. So I'm going ahead and undo. I'm going to go to this line here, get that right there. So just so you can see it pretty clear, Dynamesh it. We have a little issue right here. Dynamesh it, and that's good to go. And again, we have to do this in order to get this thing to look proper and what we want. So now another thing that we're not going to need is not going to need this side. This side is going to be completely hollow, right? So there's nothing there. So we're going to go ahead and cut right in here. We're going to go cut right in this guy. I'm going to cut right here. Oh, I hit my axis head. Cut right in here. There you go. And again, I'm going to push right on back. Push it right on back. Right there. And again, that's the issue with that. It's always going to do it. I'm going to hit Dynamesh. Is probably going to give us some problems, of course, because everything was so thin. Same thing. Let's go ahead and you can do two things. You can soften it if you want to, and then you can blow it up, intersect it, soften, intersect it. Boom. Same thing. Intersect it. Boom. And again, this is just a rinse and repeat type of situation until you get it to where you want it to get it to. Because again, it's not gonna be easy to press directly down on this stuff. It just never is. Soften it, hit it again, soften it. Soften it and hit it again, bye. So yeah, take it in here, get it inside. And once we get it to a nice happy medium, then we're good to go. And again, you know I feel like at this point you guys know my lingo by now, man. Look, you ain't got emasculate it. You ain't got emasculate it yet. You ain't got emasculate it. And again, there's gonna be some things we're gonna have to do. Like it's going to make this a little bit better. Like this part is gonna kind of a good connection. I'll soften this out because right now what happened, this thing is getting too harsh. Cool. Press this down a little bit. This whole front part is going to be kind of carved in a lot more. So press this down a little bit. There's going to be a nice sharp line here. Press this down. I'll zoom out a little bit so you can kind of see what's going on. Cut this back. Cut this a little bit. That part's going to be thin. So when we're doing this thing here, this front part is going to be a little thin. And the back part is going to be kind of heavy. The back part is going to look pretty much like an actual bone. So just give it some round volume. You can flatten the top as you want to. Doesn't really matter. Give it some round volume on this guy. Cool. That's fine. The front part of this guy is gonna be pretty sharp. But we're gonna, in order to even get the sharpness, there's another part that's not gonna be here. So when you're looking at the mandible itself, like I said, this is just a bonus for you guys. Now, when you're looking at the mandible, so it's going to look like a wrench, right? It's going to have like this wrenchy type of look where it's going to kind of come like this a little bit. So you want to go ahead and cut that off. So you can, if you want to, you can start cutting it off directly like right here if you want to. There you go. Let's go ahead and hit that. And you ain't got to do it too crazy. Like I said, we're just cutting it off right now. It's going to have a little bite. I mean, it's always going to be a little bite, right? So you have the arc part right here, and it's going to come all the way up. So I'm just going to continue to carve and sharpen this point. There's going to be a sharp point that's going to pull out right here. Again, it's going to get thin in the base, and it's going to sharpen itself up. So I'll go ahead and I'll probably use my move tool at this point for that about that. So take this, we'll get my move tool up some, and there's going to be a sharp point. It's going to come like this. In the arc part of that. Come on. Give it to me. Come on. Don't act like that, boy. Yeah, that's the stuff. I gotta work a little bit. I gotta work my inside a little bit more though. But take this. This is gonna come off a little bit more. This is gonna be facing more on the inside. So again, what we're doing, we're just simply making this sharp point in the mandible. So as you look right here, there's a little sharp tooth type of situation that's gonna be kind of coming in right there. And again, this is destructive modeling, so it's gonna be not as simple as it should be. So take that. This also needs to come back a little bit, make that a little bit more stronger. So a lot of stuff needs to come back so it can be a little bit more stronger anyways. Push that a little stronger, put that a little stronger. One thing about doing any type of organic or character modeling, the most biggest thing that you got to worry about that is going to be so annoying in a way is actually the proportions. Everything is all proportion. There's always going to be a proportion change somewhere, right? So that part you're just never going to really get away from, right? And again, once you get it to like right here, I think it's a good part to stay at. We can manipulate this so much more over time. I don't think you really need to get so hung up at this point. But I just wanted to show you this in a way, in a sense, on how it's going to look proper. So also, when you have this issue, when there's a bite in there right there, that's because the geometry is too close together, and the force or the gravity of the brush is pulling from the inside, or basically the outer face is pulling the inside face. To get rid of that, you can just turn on back face masking. You can find that in the brush section, by the way. If you go into the brush section and just scroll down, you can actually find back face masking in there. So I'm just going to go ahead and just push this out just a little bit, just to soften this up a little bit more. Because right now I'm about ready to finish up here. So I'm just kind of sculpting on that a little bit, because I'm doing a bit much than what's needed. So I'm just kind of scoping on this part right here, because I know what's going to come after this. But for you, just gotta go ahead and work, but look into that. So I'm just gonna go ahead and push this in a little bit more, just so I can have this thing set up really, really nice for when I go ahead and finish up what I need to do. Cool, soften that. Cool. All right, doing too much masculating. So open up this channel a little bit more. This mandible is going to be a little bit flat on this side, so I'll go ahead and just sculpt on this a little bit. It's going to be a little bit more flatter on this side, or the region, which is also going to give you that arc that you're looking for. So I'm just going to go ahead and pluck that. Outside of up here it ain't going to be that flat, because this is, like I said, this is kind of like a bone structure right there. Go ahead and hit that. I'll soften this part right here so I can kind of get a little stronger shape. This needs to also open up from this side too. Soften that up a little bit. And again, it's gonna be a lot of different brushes we're gonna use it, but again, I'm just doing a very rough draft of what's going on, right? Doing a very good rough draft on what's going on right here. I'm gonna push this on a little bit more because I need this part to get a lot sharper than what I'm getting right now, right? There you go. That's not bad. All right, cool. I like it. Leave it at there. So now that we got that done, let's go ahead and work on this guy right here. I push this up some. I open this up a little bit more. Cool. Now we need to work on this guy right here, and I'm gonna show you a very crazy trick. So now that's there, and again, we need to move this mandible part down because this part, at this point, that what we was showing up front is the skull with the teeth. We don't have any teeth, so this is technically lower now. Cool. I'll go ahead and drop it from this side so I can kind of see what's going on. Notice too that when I'm doing my thing, I'm actually looking everywhere. I'm not just looking there. And again, if you ever feel like, hey, I'm not getting this thing flat enough, hit B, press and look for your H polish tool, and you will flatten anything out. So then now you can say, hey, this is pretty flat. See? Not flat right here, and go ahead the same thing, press down a little bit more on it, and then you can see now it's pretty flat. All right, so that's pretty much as low as that's going to go. The only thing I need to move now is the topper jaw. So let's go ahead and finish this upper jaw, and I'm going to show you this last trick, and then this is going to conclude our pretty much free workshop on how to block out a skull. How to easily block out a skull. Even a noob can do it. All right. So let's take the skull right here. We're gonna do the exact same thing. All right. So nothing that we just did with the mandible is gonna be different than we do the skull. Right. I'm just gonna take this a little bit, press that in. So, all right, cool. Let's do that. So same thing. I'm going to hit Dynamesh. Leave it as what it is. Now we're gonna have this. Except for there's gonna be one other thing that we're gonna do. There's gonna be one other thing that we're gonna do that's gonna make this thing ridiculous. All right, so now we have this, right? So I'm going to take this, soften this up a little bit. We're going to scope a little bit in here because, again, there's nothing here. So there's nothing here for right now. So we're going to take that and make a mouthpiece, probably about right there. Cool, yes. We're going to take that and make a mouth out of that region. So we're going to open that up some, flatten this up a little bit more. Cool, carve it in a little bit right there. Cool, open that. Yes, sir. Thank you. So now we have that. That's gonna be pulled back a little bit more as well. But there's actually, if you look under here, under your, where your maxilla is. Let me see if I can find a good picture that's gonna showcase that a little bit. So this kind of showcases it a good little bit. So there's gonna be a region right up under there that you're gonna have to kind of take a grass out of. Sorry, that you're gonna kind of take a grass out of. So I'm gonna cut here a little bit, right there, and then probably this. All right, let's go ahead and chalk this up just a little bit. See if we can get that a little bit flat. A little bit information right here. And again, remember, if we want to flatten that out, we can take a H polish and we can go ahead and hit that right there. Boom, look at that. Right there, and we can flatten that little region part out a little bit. Cool. And this is if we masculate. Don't worry about it. Listen. Don't masculate it. Just appreciate it. You did. So let's leave it right there for right now. And again, we're going to edit this out a lot because there's a lot more that needs to be done on this thing. So yeah, so we have this. So now we have somewhat of an issue that needs to be worked out here. So let me just soften this. We have somewhat of an issue that needs to be worked out here is that there is a concave hollow point inside of the Zremesher. So if you look right here, there's an open hole right there, and every place you see that's going to be on the skull, there is going to be an open hole. All right. So that open hole is going to extend pretty much through this whole region right here. So how can we create a hole now in this stage of the game? Simple. We're going to use Boolean. So if you go over here to the upper left, you just go ahead and turn on live Booleans, right? And what we're going to do now is this is a complete bonus for you guys. So just in case you decide to do phase 2 of the skull creation. So what we're going to do now is that we're going to go add a cylinder, right? And we're going to turn off solo, and I'm just going to turn the manifold off. And what we're going to do with this cylinder is we're going to take the cylinder and we're going to shrink it. We're going to pull it over to the side, and up to the top view, we're going to then scale it a little bit on the x-axis, right? Lower it up again, and we're going to extend the size of this guy pretty good. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and look at this icon of the black intersecting in the white, and that is going to turn on our booleans. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it over to the skull, and as you can see, it is carving inside of the skull right now. So what I'm going to do now is rotate this thing a little bit, right? Let's rotate this like at a 60-degree angle, and then we can make it. We can shrink it down to shrink it. Pull it over, and we can shrink it a little bit too. It doesn't really matter, and we can make this thing a lot longer too if we want to, just like that. See, just like that, nothing too crazy. And we just got to make sure that this thing is cutting inside of where we're going to have our Zremesher placement in, right? So once we got that, now we have a nice little cut in right there. What we're also going to do is we're going to go ahead and mirror this to the left hand side. Now there's two type of ways you can mirror. You can mirror if you scroll down on this thing right here and look for your deformers and do the mirror from there, but that part you're going to have to duplicate and then mirror. So there's another mirror where you can mirror through the plugin, right? When you go to the plugin and you look for your Subtool Master, and there's a mirror right here. I like using the mirror from the Subtool Master because not only does it mirror and weld the mesh for you, it also, if you have subdivisions or any type, if you have subdivision or subdivision history, it will copy all of that at once, and even your polygroups as well. Cool, see? And now you have this. So now, once you get done doing that, you say, hey, I like the placement, it's good, that's where it needs to be. Then all you're gonna do right now is go to your subtools and go to Booleans, and then you're gonna hit make Boolean mesh. Now it looks like nothing happened, but it did, because if you look here into your Lightbox tool, there is a skull right there that you just made. So now you need to bring that skull into this active scene. Now once you bring that skull into this active scene, but all you have to do is hit insert, and then in order to bring a subtool into an active scene is that you just need to look at your quick picks and grab it and then insert it from there. So now that thing is now live. So you can turn off these two things right here, right? And now you have your skull, and you can see that it is live. Cool. Obviously turn on your, so now at that point, then you can turn on your, press X to turn on your symmetry, and then you can actually finish out doing what you need to do with your skull. See? So now if you want to go ahead and concave that thing out, you can do that now. So if I say, hey, I like this stuff here, I'm going to go ahead and soften this region up right quick, right? And again, it's going to break because, you know, it's not proper topologized yet. So you're going to go ahead and take that, and the same thing like before, you're going to soften mostly almost everything up that you're done. And then if you want to hit go to Dynamesh again, so go ahead and hit Dynamesh, boom, Dynamesh again is going to go ahead and make this thing all a solid individual piece. If you don't like that type of the geometry there, just go ahead and do that. And then you can go ahead and change the poly group. And then now you can take this thing and soften everything all the way out, and then make this thing completely rounded. So while you're doing your thing, it won't be too much of a hassle to work on. Cool. So now we have that, and if you want to go ahead and concave that out, like how you see there in the picture, you can do that. You can come right inside here and boom, concave this thing right on out. Follow your groove that you made from your temporal line. Come right here, get that really nice, and go ahead and work on the inside of this thing. Go ahead and build right up on this side. That way, if you want to go ahead and make this thing as proper as you want to make it, you can do that. And this is the phase that you can do that on. Take all the stuff that you need to take on here, work on everything you need to work on, do it right here in this phase, and it's going to look really nice. There's going to be a line that's going to come pretty much right here. That's going to service your mandible, not your maxilla, sorry. This is going to come pretty much out on this part, so don't break it too much. But what you want to break in a little bit is going to be that zenomatic bone. That zenomatic bone has a very interesting stretch, so go ahead and carve that in really good, right? Don't hit your mandible too much, right? Don't worry about that. I mean, not the mandible, the maxilla. Sorry, I keep looking at that part that gets me. All right, so cool. You can take that, and if you want to work a little bit more on cut them more in that, you can do that. Now remember, this here, there's going to be once you get done twerking on this mesh-story process right here, and in the front of that mesh-story process, there's going to be a big little circular thing right there. That circular thing you're going to see right there is going to be where your it's going to be where your eardrum is. So go ahead and just carve that up a little bit. And again, I'm not really trying to make this thing as perfect as possible. I'm not trying to do that. That's not what I'm doing right now. I'm not trying to go ahead and make it that perfect. What I'm doing is indicating where these things are, so it'll be a lot more easier down the line. 'Cause remember, a strong block out is going to make your process dramatically easier. Trust me. So all you gotta do is get a really good block out of this guy, and it's going to really make your model shine. Trust me. And you can thin this up now if you want to. Just go ahead and thin it up. There's going to be another part of this thing that you're going to see. It's going to kind of come pretty much right here, which is going to be the breakout point from the Zenomatic and the mesh story process. So if you want to go ahead and act that out right now, it's up to you. So it's going to kind of come similar to about right there. And again, once you have that, you can turn that off, turn this on, sorry. Turn it off, turn this on. You gotta line stuff up, obviously. This maxilla part right here is gonna have to come up now because this is gonna be a lot different. So I'm gonna take this and I guess I'll hit H polish to kind of flatten this stuff out a little bit more. Kind of H polish this thing. I'll soften it up. I'll turn on the mandible so we can see what's going on here, because we got to move some of this stuff up now so we can make room for the teeth. So I'll just kind of take this, push this up some, because we have to make room for the teeth now. There you go. It's going to be pretty much right there. And again, this is a block out, so I'm not using proper techniques to determine where the teeth is going to be. This is pure visual. And I'm just showing you this. This is how easy it is, man. Very easy, man. Very easy to get a very strong block out of this guy. I really like it. Cool. And also, too, the front teeth is going to be more. The front teeth is going to be supposed to be over the bottom row. So there's a good chance that we may have to take this set and push it in just a little bit more. Cool. Now this has got a little bit off the chart a little bit. Let me go ahead and correct that. And then now we can kind of worry about other different types of silhouette structures. And this is where we're getting at right here. And if this is kind of close up than where it should be, so I'm going to go ahead and arc this up a little bit more. Press this down a little bit more. Like I said, this back part is going to be a lot heavier than the front. I like this for right now. Is that an open part? I am not sure, but I could just Dynamesh that, because again, that's not gonna hurt anything. I can actually increase it a little bit more, Dynamesh it, so therefore everything will stay kind of close up in quarters. Cool. I can get that just like that. Arch, and this is a little bit more bite. Arch that a little bit more. Arch that a little bit more. And then now that we have this stuff, we can see, okay, what needs to come up more or not. So if I say, hey, this needs to branch up a little bit more, like right there in that socket, just can do that. Or let's say this is in the proper position, but the skull is too far back, then easy. We can take that right now and now readjust that. You see how easy it is once we have a strong block out? And we can say that that's what this looks like. I can bring this down a little bit. This is gonna come pretty much right here. Open this up some. We can flatten this part of the zenomatic bone out a little bit. Work that out some. Work this part up. Yeah, get that round sure curve looking right there. Open this up a little bit. Look around in the skull. Let's just make sure that everything is coach steady. Everything looks pretty good to me. I like what's going on. We're gonna then start to work a little bit more in this orbital section. But again, this is for the most part a very nice strong block out that we have going right now. I like it. So now that we're done with this, what is the last phase? Simple. We go ahead and hit the magic again. And again, so that's all we got to do is come over here, test this stuff, hit the magic again. And once we get done doing this stuff, I'm telling you, crazy. The details that you can get on this thing is going to be absolutely bananas. Right? Go ahead and soften that up, and we can sharpen this up a little bit more too if we want to. Now, if we want to add a little bit more detail and just block out for your zenomatic bone, you can do that. I mean, not your zenomatic, your superorbital arches, you can do that if you want to. Or if you want to add that flat point, because again, your superorbital arches is going to come pretty much right here, right? This is where the superorbital arches is going to be pretty much built off from. Just right there. And then you're going to have a cut-in point here, which is going to formulate your M-shaped depth, but we're not going to go too far into that. We're not going to go too far into that. All right. And this part is going to be more flatter. So you're going to take this part here, you can flatten that part out, push this more so there, just so you can get a very strong sense of what's going on. That's going to be a lot more flatter. It's a little bit rounded, but it's okay. Like I said, we're just blocking out. We're just cocking the fill, baby. We're just cocking the fill. We're going to open up this region right here, so this palatal bone region. Yeah. Open up the palatal bone region some more. Cool. I like it. Alright, so now that we got this, I like it a good bit. It gives me a good feel about what's going on. I can tell what's happening. I can manipulate. I have enough geometry where if I need to manipulate this shape even further, I can manipulate the shape a lot further. Superorbital arches have came completely where I needed it to come into. We can get that breakout point in there. Anyways, without going too much further, I think I'm gonna stop it here as far as that, because this is going to be a lot flatter than what this is right now. If you want to flatten it out, pretty simple. Take this thing, hit your H polish, and then you can just lightly, gently flatten out your superorbital arches if you want to get it crispy. But right now, not doing that. I just wanted to show you that this is easy for you to do, man. It's such an easy thing. Turn that intensity down for the flattened part, though. So yeah, I like it. I'm gonna take that. I'm probably gonna do a little cut-in section right here to indicate that superorbital arch area. Push this up in a little bit more. All right, so now last thing we gotta do now is we topologize it. So same thing, we're gonna do the same target. We're gonna do a 1, hit the 1, watch the magic work, and it's just gonna poof, pop in the proper place they need to pop into. Cool. See how the superorbital arch kind of came in for itself? Barely had to do anything. So now we do gonna have this issue sometimes where trash geometry. If you don't like it, hit it again. It's gonna correct itself. See? There you go. But as you can see, still proper, still doing exactly what it needed to do. You need to fix anything after this point. You just kind of, you know, use a slight little bit of anatomy, little research there, or just look at your reference. Look at a reference, and trust me, it's gonna come pretty easy for you. Cool. So we have that, and if we want to pull this some more, so in some. Offer that down, open that up a little bit, open that up a little bit, arch that up. Boop. Cool. True. That's gonna come in a little bit. True. Same thing for this, same thing for the mandible. Take the mandible, Zremesher it. It's gonna come in, poof. It's going to be in a very good position. Look at your geometry. Make sure your geometry is pretty clean. This is, I'm not really worried about that, but if you want it a little bit better, hit it again. I don't think I really seen much of a difference. It looks good. I don't care. I think the second one's even better. But yeah, this is how you do a pretty good block out of a skull. And right now, the skull is looking good. Pretty easy for you to manipulate. Pretty easy for you to work on now. And this is, and I also gave you guys a bonus on how to separate the skull, so just in case you want to make it more proper and you don't need to worry about trying to make it all one piece. This could be kind of taxing, but then again, you kind of want it to look really good. And also I showed you how to manipulate the upper part of the skull and the maxilla, and also how to put the holes for the xenomatic bone using a Boolean technique. And this is pretty much, again, how you block out a skull and how you do that pretty proper. Boop. So after this point, you just gotta do the actual work. Sculpt on a little bit right here. Boop. Oops, sorry. I'm looking at the wrong thing. Take this mandible, go ahead and then sculpt on it a little bit more right here. Get your holes in there a lot more prominent, and then you are ready to go. There you go. See? Once you do that, you'll start seeing it come more and more to life for you. Same thing for your eyes. Once you sculpt more on your orbital a little bit more, get these things to make sure you guys find your lines. Get that lines pretty crispy in there. Just like that. Get your lines pretty crispy in there. Once you get them lines really crispy, it actually becomes a lot easier for you to manage. And then you can pretty much work on it from that part on. Cool. All right, work on this too much. Cool. Whoop. Oh, let me do this real quick. I think it's kind of fun. Boop. Scoop. Put it right there. So I hope you guys had a very good time. Again, this is my little workshop that I wanted to have today, where I wanted to show you guys how to properly block out a skull. An easy way to block out a skull. Even a noob can do it, regardless if you have little to no anatomy knowledge at all. And I've also showed you some other interesting techniques as well. So I got a lot of videos that's going to be coming out a lot in the 2025. I'm going to be kind of breaking out of the private spectrum more into the public spectrum, and also showing you what kind of goes on in the back end at our 3D mentorship courses. Since we do offer 2 courses, which is the fundamental 3D modeling and character design courses for beginners. We have a lot of fun in there. If you're interested in joining our courses and learning more about the type of stuff that we're doing right here, or learn how we pretty much make income in the 3D design trade, feel free to message me. You can kind of message me on 3ddojostudios.com. That's also where you can sign up as well. I have some more videos coming out that I'm working on right now. Next video I'm probably going to do is going to be how to polygroup like a boss. If you have any questions, have anything you want to know, please hit me with a comment, like, subscribe if you feel like joining the channel. If not, hey, I'm glad that you even got a chance to check this out. Other than that, I'll be your boy, Bruce Leroy, and again, Happy New Year's. I'm glad you guys are here and check this out, and hopefully this helped you out as well. All right, catch you later.